I never imagined the night my parents threw a wedding for my wife and my adopted brother would become the darkest night of my life. They smiled, they laughed, they danced, but I was standing in a cold silence, watching everything I loved slip away right before my eyes. My wife. The woman I thought was mine forever. The one I trusted with my heart and soul. She wasn't walking down the aisle with me. No. She was walking with him, the brother I raised, the one I believed was family. How could they do this to me? How could my own parents celebrate their union as if it were some happy ending, while my heart was breaking into pieces? I remember the moment clearly. The cheers, the clinking of glasses, the joyful faces around me. But I felt nothing but a burning rage and unbearable pain deep inside. I kept asking myself, was I blind all this time? Did I never see the signs? Or did I simply refuse to believe that they could betray me like this? Then came the moment they handed me a gifte token of peace, they called it. But I knew better. I took that gift and made a promise to myself that night. I would give them a gift, back a gift, they would regret forever. Because sometimes, the gravest betrayals come not from strangers, but from those you trusted the most. And sometimes, the most unforgettable revenge is the one served cold. They thought I'd disappear quietly. They thought the pain would break me. But they had no idea what was coming. For years I believed my life was perfect, or at least close to it. My name is Ayan, and I grew up in a family where love and loyalty were everything. My parents had always been proud, traditional, and strict, but they loved me in their own way. I was the eldest son, the one they hoped would carry the family legacy forward. Then came Sami, my adopted brother. He arrived when I was just 10, a quiet kid with no past and no family. My parents took him in, said it was their duty. For me, at first, Sami was just a stranger in my home, someone I barely noticed. But slowly, we grew close. I taught him everything: how to ride a bike, how to fight back when someone pushed too far, how to dream. We became inseparable, like real brothers should be. Sami was different from me, charismatic, charming, and somehow always the center of attention. I was steady, reserved, the one who followed the rules. But that never came between us. I trusted him with my secrets, my fears, even my dreams of marrying Zoya. She was everything to me. We met in college, a whirlwind of laughter, late night talks, and promises about a future together. She was bright, caring, and beautiful, not just on the outside, but deep down inside. We fell in love fast, and for 5 years, I thought we had the perfect relationship. Every time I looked at her, I felt like the luckiest man alive. My parents approved too. They liked Zoya, say she was the daughter they never had. She fit perfectly into our family, or so I thought. But underneath all the smiles and celebrations, cracks had started to appear. Small things at first, a glance that lingered too long, a message left unanswered, a secret phone call. I pushed them aside, telling myself to trust my wife and my brother. But the truth? The truth was a storm waiting to break. Because Sami wasn't just my brother. Over time, he became something else, someone who wanted what was mine. Someone who wasn't satisfied with the role I gave him in my life. And Zoya, she wasn't the woman I thought she was. Behind her soft smile was a hidden game, one I never saw coming. My family, my love, my brother, everything I believed in, started to unravel. And I was about to learn that the people closest to you can hurt you the deepest. The days that followed were a blur of confusion and torment. Every smile from Zoya felt like a lie. Every word from Sami sounded like a secret code I couldn't crack. I kept asking myself over and over, am I imagining things? Was I just being paranoid? Or was my heart trying to warn me about a betrayal too painful to accept? I found myself watching them closely, searching for cynichny sinet that what I saw was real. But all I saw were perfectly rehearsed smiles and carefully hidden glances. The way Sami would brush past Celia's hand when no one was looking. The way Zoya's phone suddenly became a locked mystery whenever I was around. One night, I sat alone in my room, staring at my phone's blank screen. My mind raced. Should I confront them? Should I say something? But What if I was wrong? What if I destroyed my family over a misunderstanding? I remembered the moment when I first noticed something was off. Sami had sent me a text earlier that day, short and cold. Let's talk later. No explanation, no warmth. It was unlike him. I dialed his number, my hands trembling. When he answered, his voice was clipped, distant. Everything's fine, he said. But the tone betrayed him. There was tension, something I couldn't place. I hung up, heart pounding. I wanted to scream, to demand answers. But fear held me back. Fear of the truth and fear of losing everything. I tried to talk to Zoya too. One evening, as we sat in the dim light of our living room, I asked quietly, "Is there something you're not telling me?" She looked up surprised, then smiled softly. "Ayan, what are you talking about? You're overthinking." But her eyes betrayed her calm words. I saw the flicker of guilt, the hesitation. That night, I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. My mind replayed every moment, every laugh I shared with them. Was it all a lie? Was my brother, the man I trusted, the one who had been stealing pieces of my life? I told myself to hold on, to wait for proof. But the weight of suspicion crushed me. The silence between us grew heavier, filled with things left unsaid. "I just want to understand," I whispered into the darkness. "Why? How could you do this?" No answer came, only the echo of my own broken heart. Just when I thought I had seen the worst, life hit me with a blow so brutal I nearly lost my sanity. The next day, my mind was racing with unanswered questions. I knew I had to find out the full truth. I couldn't live with the shadow of doubt any longer. So I decided to follow Sami just for a little while to see where he went when he left the house. I trailed him quietly, my heart pounding like a drum in my chest. Every step he took felt like a step away from the brother I thought I knew, and closer to a nightmare I never imagined. He didn't head to work or meet a friend. Instead, Sami stopped outside a small, run-down apartment building on the edge of town. My breath caught. I watched as he knocked on the door. A woman answered, a face I had never seen before. What happened next shattered everything I believed in. They didn't just exchange greetings or quick words. Sami pulled the woman inside, and she wrapped her arms around him tightly. Their kiss was desperate, full of forbidden passion and betrayal. I felt like I was sinking into the ground, every fiber of my being screaming in pain. But that wasn't the worst part. As I stood frozen, I overheard their conversation through the cracked door. "I can't keep pretending anymore," the woman whispered, her voice trembling. "He doesn't even know, does he?" Sami's reply chilled me to the bone. "Not yet," he said coldly. "But soon, everything will be mine." My hands clenched into fists. My mind streamed at me to run, to confront them, but I was paralyzed. The man I called brother was weaving a web of lies deeper than I could have ever imagined. And Zoya? I was about to discover a secret that would change everything, because that wasn't just an affair. It was part of a plan that would destroy me, my family, and the life I thought I had. I couldn't hold it inside any longer. The truth clawed at my chest until I had no choice but to confront them both, Sami and Zoya. The betrayal had grown too loud to ignore, and the silence between us was unbearable. That evening I called them both to the family home under the pretense of a serious talk. The air was thick with tension before they even arrived. I paced the living room, heart racing, hands shaking. What would they say? Would they deny everything? Or confess and break me completely? Sami was the first to step in, that familiar smirk playing on his lips. "Ayan, what's this about?" I didn't waste time. "I know what you've been doing. The lies, the betrayal, the secret meetings." My voice was sharper than I expected, but the anger poured out like a flood. Zoya's eyes widened, then flickered to Sami, a silent panic passing between them. Is this some kind of joke? Sami laughed, but it was hollow. What are you talking about? I took a deep breath and dropped the bombshell. I followed you yesterday. I saw you with that woman or other woman. Sami's face changed in an instant. The confidence drained away, replaced by cold calculation. You don't understand, Ion. It's not what you think. I laughed bitterly. Not what I think? You lied to me every single day. And you? I turned to Zoya. You were part of this. How long were you planning to keep me in the dark? Zoya's gaze was no longer warm. It was distant, guarded. Then, with a trembling voice, she said something that shattered me deeper than any betrayal. I didn't want to hurt you, Ion. Sami promised me a future way out. You don't know the things he told me about you, about your family. I blinked, confused and hurt. What things? She looked away, then back at me. That you were just a tool to get what he wanted. That you didn't deserve love. The words cut me to the bone. Sami stepped forward, voice cold and sharp. You were weak, Ion. Always the obedient son, the perfect boy. But I was the one who fought for power. Zoya saw that. I felt like I was falling apart, but somewhere deep inside, a new fire was igniting. I wasn't going to be their victim. Maybe you were right about one thing, I said slowly. I was blind, but now I see clearly. And this are P. I held up the gift my parents gave me at their wedding, a small box with a note. For peace and new beginnings. This is going to be the start of your regret. Their shocked expressions told me they hadn't expected this fight back. That night, I didn't just confront betrayal, I ignited a war they would never forget. The days after the confrontation were a whirlwind. The family wedding had already been planned. My parents, eager to unite Sami and Zoya, unaware of the storm brewing beneath the surface. But after everything I had uncovered, I knew I couldn't stay silent. I had to make sure they regretted ever trying to erase me from their lives. At the wedding, the atmosphere was cold. Smiles were forced, and whispers filled every corridor. My parents beamed, proud to see their adopted son marrying the woman I once loved. But I had a different kind of gift for them. When it was my turn to speak, I stepped forward with the box I had prepared, the same one I had shown Sami in that final confrontation. The small gift held more than just an object. It carried the truth, the betrayal, and my promise. Today, we celebrate a new beginning, I said, my voice steady but dripping with irony. But sometimes, new beginnings come with painful truths. I handed the box to my father and told him to open it. Inside was evidence, messages, photos, and recordings I had gathered quietly. Each one exposed the lies, the secret meetings, and the betrayal by the people he trusted most. The room fell silent, shock and disbelief washing over everyone. My mother's face crumbled into tears. Sami's smirk faded, replaced by rage and helplessness. Zoya couldn't meet my eyes. I gave you everything, my trust, my love, and you threw it all away, I said, voice thick with emotion. This is the truth you wanted to hide. The wedding celebration turned into a confrontation, a reckoning none of us could avoid. My parents finally saw what had been happening in their own home, behind their backs. As the night ended, I walked away from them, all the betrayal, the pain, the shattered family. I realized that sometimes the people we love the most are the ones who hurt us the deepest. But I also learned something else. My worth is not defined by their lies. I left that night knowing I would rebuild my life stronger, wiser, and free from the shadows of betrayal. And just like that, everything I thought I knew about love and trust was gone. But the story didn't end there. Because sometimes, when you give a gift of truth, it changes not only the past but the future.